As we get older, certain things become more difficult. So today I'm really going to focus on what we can do to help you play better as you feel a little bit stiffer. So as we get older, one of the things that is harder to do physically, according to all the experts, not me, guidance from experts, is we find it harder to move sideways, okay? Laterally. Now in golf, moving laterally is pretty important. So let's go through a cheat today that's going to help you move laterally correctly and help you play better as you lose a little bit of mobility in your golf swing. So as we've talked about there, moving laterally becomes harder the older we get. How can we cheat that? How can we work around that? Now what I want you to do is set up in a different way that's going to allow you to, let's say, manipulate that a little bit. So the standard setup, you'd be here, and we'd get your pelvis to locate itself, let's say 1 inch more forward. So about 2.5 centimeters more forward. That's what we normally want. And I'd want the left hip to be slightly higher than the right. And I want then that to give us a neutral spine at the back. That's why we would do it. Now, within this cheat, what I'm going to ask you to do is move probably 3 inches more forward. So really preset this pelvis, your zip of your trousers, in front of that golf ball by quite some margin compared to before. We're going to flare the left foot and really push. Feel that this left knee works its way almost to the outside of the foot, the pelvis more here, and certainly if anything, feel the left hip a little bit higher. So we're going to preset a little bit more tilt with a little bit more forward pressure. Probably at a dress shoe, and this is for irons, we'd want to feel is 55% of your pressure on the lead foot. Because we're moving the pelvis, we've got to shift some of the pressure. The head, I'd still want to be pretty much on the ball. I wouldn't have an issue if you were looking at the front of the ball. That would not be an issue for me, especially with a mid to short iron. When you go to a driver with this, I'd probably, instead of going 3 inches, I'd probably go 2, and I'd probably go 50-50 with the weight, and I would go head behind the golf ball, with a view to the ball's teed up, so we don't need the low point to be forward. We need the low point to be behind the ball. So slight adjustment for the driver, before anyone asks, but realistically what we're after is, if this is my standard setup, push those hips about 3 inches forward, push the left knee forward, push the pressure forward, get the head to go more to the front of the golf ball, then just draw the right foot back a tiny bit. That's going to allow me to turn, and I'm happy if these arms go a little bit deeper, okay, with that extra turn, but we've got the weight forward to facilitate that. So if I'm in this set position now, a little bit off balance, but apart from that, I actually ripped that. Tiny bit of draw, but strike-wise, fantastic. Really great. I always say this when I do senior cheats, I hit the ball probably better than normal. I am 48. I am getting close to senior age. Senior professional age is 50. But that setup there just allows you to deliver that low point more consistently, and it gives you so much more space here to turn. Now, as we get older, the lateral movement gets harder, but also the rotation, the flexibility. Now, if you're a really flexible, fit guy and you're older, then you can be normal, carry on as normal. But if you start to find that that striking, that low point gets inconsistent, and you feel you're losing a little bit of power, and certainly the short irons aren't as crispy as we want them to be, this cheat, for me, does everything we want you to do biomechanically and physically to try and facilitate your golf swing. We would still want to feel that we have lateral movement in the downswing. These hips should move laterally 5-6 inches. We're presetting these 3 we've talked about. So they've still got to move 3 inches more. But if you did move them 5-6 inches from that 3-inch preset, it won't do you massive harm. If you get too much lateral, the chances are you're going to send the swing too much to the right. So you're going to hit it too much with a draw, too much with a block. The slices, it'll start to go. Let's just show you with the driver to make sure you understand what you do with that. So the driver, ball position would still be left heel. Right foot would be back, and I'd probably draw it back a touch more than I did with the iron. I'd still preset that hip. I'd get the head go more behind the golf ball, so I want to be looking here. And as I've done in the recent video, I'd set up with the club head behind the ball about 5-6 inches minimum. And then from here, again, feel that big turn. And then don't be scared to stay behind the ball, but keep these hips forward. Let them turn, but keep them forward. So a slight push, but a good solid hit. And that's kind of what we want. Consistency, repeatability, knowing what the ball's going to do before you hit it is absolutely key. If we can do that, the game becomes easy. Now, if you're looking at a long iron or a hybrid, what would you do? A combination in between the two of these. Still preset the hips forward. We still want to hit down on the ball. But the way you'd look with your eyes would be probably more the center of the ball rather than the front of the ball. So let's go front of the ball, 7 iron to wedge, sand iron. Let's go 6 iron to 4 iron or hybrid, middle of the ball, driver, look behind the ball and set the hips. Instead of 3 inches, probably 1.5 inches. All shots, just draw that right foot back ever so slightly to give you room and space to rotate, even though you're presetting with a bit more pressure to the left. Pressure-wise, short iron, 55%, long iron, 50-50, driver, 55-45. And then just turn and hit the ball, be committed, get through that golf ball, enjoy your golf, play better, smile more, and take the money off your friends.